Hi everyone, welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yi.
I'm Wendy Yi.
Now, several years ago, and in fact 8 or so years ago, a game came out called the Isle of Skye.
Was it really
From
like...
chieftain to king. I'm not done saying the name of the game yet.
Oh no.
Period. Okay.
Was
I'm
it really
done.
like 8 years ago?
Yeah, it won the 2016 kennerspiel award, and usually a game wins the award the subsequent year after it came out.
Okay, and I think we played it after it got the kennerspiel.
I think did.
That's when we were first introduced to it, so 7-ish years ago.
Co-designers Alexander Pfister, who has made quite a name for himself, and Andreas Pelikan, who is less so, but these are the same two that co-designed Broom Service, winning the kennerspiel the year before. So that's an impressive back-to-back win here. But we're not talking about this garbage. We're talking about the Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King big box.
That's a fancy box.
It is.
It's all like cool framed where it's got all like the glow in the middle.
Yeah, well, if you like Clemens Frond's artwork, this one has less of it. If you don't like his artwork, this is less of it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit. I'm going to show you what comes inside this box, and then we'll come back and give you our thoughts. I'm going to give you a very brief overview of the original base game of Isle of Skye, then go and show you the expansion and the modules that come in the big box here. If you want a more robust rules overview, go check out Tom's original review. But basically, the Isle of Skye is a tile-laying game wherein you're trying to match different types of terrains here, land to land, mountain to mountain, or lake to lake, in order to complete these different scoring objectives over here. Each round, a different scoring objective, or multiple, will fire off. The first round, all of the A's will fire off. The second round, only B. Then in the third round, A and C will both score, and then so on and so forth. So you can see that multiple things will score in the last few rounds, really ramping up the points. The game is driven by a price setting phase. Every player will draw 3 tiles in front of them. They will choose one of them to axe, or to just get rid of from the game completely. And then they're going to price set the other ones here so that they have some money left over. Once everybody has done this, you remove your player screens. And now, starting with the first player, I could purchase with my leftover money that's not committed to any of these tiles. Well, first you would axe the ones that were axed here, as you see. Those go away, and now I could purchase one of these if I wanted to. If I wanted to pay $3 to this person over here, I could. They will get their $3 back that they priced this out at, and they will get 3 of my dollars as well, but then I'll have bought this tile from them, which I'll get to add to my kingdom, and then they can do the same thing back. If they have any leftover money, which now they do, they could purchase one of my tiles if they wanted to, or not. Once you're done with that, then every player is going to start adding tiles out to their kingdoms. You can try to expand out roads so that you get more coins. Anything that shows coins on here will give you more income at the start of each round, and then you're basically just trying to complete things so you can get extra scoring objectives. You would look at the scoring objective for the round and score that many points for closing off regions, or for having lots of animals near farms maybe, or for having a lot of these different types of structures, or for having a lot of the whiskey barrels that will give you more money. That's a basic round of Isle of Skye. You play this 6 rounds. Let me show you what the expansion and the extra modules in the big box do. Here with the Druids expansion, every player will have a second purchase that they can make, but instead of with the other players at the table, it'll be exclusively with the Druid board over here. You can purchase one of these face-ups tiles here that have a special back distinct from the normal tiles, and they're only found over here. You have to pay the base price shown in the top left corner of the tile, plus 1 additional for every space that is in 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 extra coins. You spend that money to the bank, and then you can purchase this tile and add it to your kingdom, add it to your area just the same as normal, following all the same rules. A lot of these are all specialties, so they will give you extra banners, which are more scoring opportunities, or maybe they'll give you one of these power tiles. When you take this one and place it into your kingdom, you also get to grab the appropriate tile, so that now extra tiles cost you 1 fewer when you purchase them from players. Or you can have an extra banner scoring. One of your banners will score another time, or you can make transactions cheaper. And so these basically will give you little power-ups and have unique new scoring opportunities. You could also, if you wish instead, you may pay 5 coins to draw tiles from the bag. Look at 2 of them, keep 1 to add into your area, and the other goes back into the bag. This is a small module called the Tunnels. Tunnels will try to make it easier for you to get more income by connecting your castle to more of these whiskey barrels, which will give you more money over the course of the round. The idea is that if you connect a road into a mountain range that has tunnels on it, every one of these tunnels is connected to any other tunnel through the mountain range, but that's very difficult to work, and there's only 12 of these in the game. The last thing in this box is a new module that has not come out before. These are called the Borderlands tiles, which when they're placed out come out on their weaker side. You can eventually flip them over onto their stronger side, but these will forbid you from building out regular tiles on the two sides that are wonky shaped, but you can build them abutted against the normal flat side. What'll happen is the next time that I fill in all sides, the normal sides of the Borderland here, it will flip over to its stronger side. And so now I might have a lot more connections, and I can utilize these to kind of build out. You can have these touching up against each other if you're able to build those legally, but you are never allowed to have these touch a normal tile on those sides here. And you can build one of these for free every round. Every player has access to all of the same ones here, all 6, and so you can build 6 of them across each of the rounds. And that's the new thing that comes in this big box.
Okay, so first off, Chris, I was not a fan of the base game of this initially. We played this 7 years ago, like we said. Blind auctions are like even worse than real auctions in my mind of like, how do I set a value to this? I don't even know.
Real auctions, like all the time we go down to the art festivals.
Right, but it's grown on me. I feel like that's a skill in general that I've gotten better at. And so the base game of this, that kind of like blind auction thing, I feel like I've gotten better at figuring out those tiles and what they're worth, and therefore I feel like I enjoy this game more than I did a handful of years ago.
And I came at this one, I really liked the base game right away. Like right away, I thought this was really brilliant. I love price setting as a mechanism. And like you said, that price setting doubles down into the auction part of it, the buying round. I like Carcassonne a lot, and I like kind of building up tile laying type stuff.
Yeah.
So the base game works really well for me. I would definitely recommend it. And so I came into this base box thinking, oh, cool, let's see what else there is. We hadn't tried any of the expansions either.
Sure, sure. I think, too, with the base game, or just like the general concept behind this, there's an interesting push and pull that comes whether or not you're first player, second player, third player, or whatever. Because the way that you're spending money and gaining money, if you're the first person to have to buy other people's tiles, you don't have any income to be able to afford those. And
after you set the price.
After you set the price, yeah, you're like, okay, I have to set this price. I have to set it high enough that people are going to pay me good money, but I also have to set it low enough that I can afford to buy anything else that someone puts out. Otherwise, I'm kind of out of tiles for this round. Right,
and if you're last in a larger player count game, both your tiles might get purchased.
Yeah.
And so you have that debate of, do I price them very high? You know, but because if someone buys at least one of mine, if I price them high, I'm getting that money back plus another player's, so that I could probably purchase any tile that's out there that I really want. So there's a lot of that at the start of each round. You look around the tiles and you say, I'd be happy to buy maybe these ones. How much am I going to charge for mine? I think that that is such a brilliant and also a quick way to do price setting auctioning in a game.
It's interesting, yeah. For me, that was too much for me. Like back in the day, it was too much. It was especially to have to price it and make sure that I have money to buy stuff.
And coming back to it now, you're saying you enjoyed it a little bit more?
Yeah, I did enjoy it more. I felt like it was much more streamlined and simple than I expected. And so I think part of it's just more experience for that for me.
Okay.
And so that's just a very personal thing.
So now, that's kind of our thoughts on the base game, where we came from. I was really happy to jump into this. I've wanted to play this game again.
You have.
And I play the app a bit, so it was fun to play it in person. This one in particular, this big box, it's funny because it only has one of the 2 boxed expansions included in it. It has the Druids one, not the Journeyman one. I think general consensus is that the Journeyman one, even the people who like it a lot say it does kind of change up a lot of the flow of the game, is kind of what I understand. Whereas the Druid board, you throw that in there really easy. It's got tunnels module, 12 little tiles with tunnels on it, and it's got these new Borderlands ones. Where do you want to start with the additional content?
I want to start with the Borderlands just because it was my favorite.
Okay.
This idea of having 2 tiles that you have to kind of corner up so that you can put this this little Borderland tile in. I really like it because it's a free action, so it doesn't add more cost to the game. And it's based on just the landscapes that are around it. And so I may not get the tiles that I want to do the scoring or to get the animals or to whatever, the roads, however they are. I may not get the tiles that I want, but as long as I get tiles that have edges that I can work with, then I can throw in that tile and I can get bonuses. I can get those sheep. I can get those buildings. I can get something. And so I think it's very cool the way that that works.
Yeah, I agree. And I like what you said about the scoring is one of the things that makes the Isle of Skye one of the most clever games out there.
Sure.
Is the way that the scoring ramps up. And so having these guaranteed Borderland tiles, because everyone has the same set of them, having those can really come in handy when you're like, I know the scoring thing is coming up. So yeah, it helps kind of mitigate, oh, none of us drew the right tile for this thing. Well, I could probably use this Borderland to kind of fill that in or something, or make do for a less efficient tile draw. Especially
early on in the game, because sometimes that scoring, that very first scoring, no one gets any points because you're like, oh, no sheep came out. It was sheep. Yeah. But now you can make it happen. So I really like that.
I enjoy that one, and I enjoy the general sacrifice of I can't build in those spaces that the Borderlands facing. Although the rulebook does clarify that Borderlands can abut against other Borderlands.
Yeah.
And technically, there's nothing stopping you, I suppose, from building a giant, craggy hole in the middle of your Isle of Skye. Because I guess Borderlands could just kind of
That's true. That's basically like the journey to the center of the middle of the earth. Like you just kind of like spelunk into there, and then that's how you make it in the middle of the planet, in the Isle of Skye.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's going to fly down there with a torch in slow motion.
Yes.
The other module, the other small module, the tunnels.
Nope, I didn't like the tunnels.
This is my least favorite part of the thing there.
I think visually there's a problem, that it looks like roads lead into this tunnel, but it looks like they go into the mountains just normal. So it's hard to distinguish when you're looking at your board quickly to say, does this connect through a tunnel or does it not connect through a tunnel? And I think that that's confusing in itself. Also, there's only like 12 of them.
There's only 12. In the whole, there's a giant bag. Yeah, absolutely. The huge bag of tiles. You need to draw at least 2 of them and actually get them into your mountain range. And you have to have a pretty big mountain range to make it worth it. Also, with the mechanism of the game where you have 3 tiles in front of you, you get to axe one of them. If everyone's like, you don't get tunnels, axe it, then you're not getting tunnels.
Right, they're gone. Also, if you set up a road to a tunnel in a mountain and you don't get another tunnel with a road that fits out just perfectly, they're just wasted tiles.
I think it's my least favorite thing in this box. Take it or leave it, fine. But then we get the
Druid expansion.
The Druids expansion, which hasn't been reviewed separately on the channel before. So this one adds the Stonehenge. The Stonehenge tile. Stonehenge. It's about the size of the actual Stonehenge from the movie. What is the movie I'm thinking of?
That rock movie?
The rock movie, yeah, the mockumentary. I'll think of it later. We script our reviews here at the channel.
Yeah, clearly.
So you get that, and it's basically just a little market board of tiles that you can purchase from as a second buy. I really like that.
I like it because I feel like the base game of Isle of Skye has a little bit of this imbalance that can happen. It doesn't always happen, but if I always draw better tiles than you, like you get basic landscape tiles, and I get stuff that happens to work with the scoring that's out, I can price mine higher. That means that I may pay more if you don't want to buy it, and I get better tiles. Or it means that you're giving me more money because you're buying my tiles, and therefore I can buy bigger, better things. And so I feel like that Druid expansion allows you to get scoring tiles if you're not getting quite as much money. Because if a scoring tile comes out and I generally just have more money, I'm the one who's going to get it every time. And so I can get more scoring on my map. And so I feel like it balances it a little bit.
Sure, and when you say scoring tiles, the nice thing about this game is that any tile type, whether it has an animal on it or a certain landscape or a closes landscape or a big open landscape, anything is a scoring tile potentially at the start of each game.
Sure.
So that sideboard, the Druid board there, you can say, I really want to get that thing. And I can guarantee that that'll happen. It adds a little bit more stability into a game where there's you have to auction and kind of axe out different tiles and stuff. You don't know if it'll get purchased before you. That one is a nice little, hey, I can look at that and have some predictability from one round to the next.
Yeah.
I like that. Also, it gives you more ways to kind of throw your money around, especially in a 2-player game. People have said Isle of Skye is probably weaker at 2, and I wouldn't disagree with that.
Most auction games are.
Right.
Or price setting, or whatever you want to call it.
And this one, I think, does work at 2 already. Like, it works pretty well, but it's not my ideal player count. But with that auction, with the Druid board on the side, I think it's much stronger of a 2-player game.
Yes, and I would say that that imbalance is probably seen more in a 2-player game that I was talking about. So we agree, is what I'm saying.
No, not allowed. Garbage. So there you go. That is each of the individual components. Now, as a big box, I think that this thing is pretty good. It's a very reasonable size. You compare it to the original box here. You could...
It still would fit on a shelf.
Yeah, this is one of the most reasonable sized big boxes I've seen in a while. So huge kudos to Lookout for doing that.
Right.
Unlike the really, really terrible Agricola 15th anniversary box.
Oh my goodness, that thing is huge.
The thing is an abomination.
And it's weirdly shaped.
More big boxes this size, please.
Yes, please.
I don't know, any other closing thoughts before we give our scores?
I'm just going to give my score. So I'm going to give this a 7.5. I do think that it's a solid game. I really like a couple of the, the Druid expansion, the Corners module, super awesome, love that. Tunnels, take it or leave it, but I don't think that that's going to mess up the game or the big box experience for me. It's 12 tiles. Pull them out, leave them in. It doesn't matter, it doesn't affect my gameplay that much.
I see. My score is definitely higher than you on this one. My score for this is going to be about the same score as I give the base game, and that's a 9. I really like Isle of Skye.
You do really like Isle of Skye.
I like it a lot. The way that the scoring builds up is just so clever and hasn't really been copied in that many games. The closest other one I can think of that does it is like the Cartographers, the roll and write one. But that one doesn't have the same level of ramping up that this one does either. I like tile laying, so as a product, the big box here, I think it's solid. I think it's a good way to do it, especially because, like I said, it is reasonably sized. I can't emphasize how much that matters to me. This did not need to be, gigantic, and I'm glad that it wasn't. Isle of Skye is a fantastic game. I think that if you like it, and you already have the expansions, you don't need to get this. The Borderlands module is not worth it, but this is a great jumping on point that's not too overwhelming. Play the base game a few times, start throwing stuff in, you're set.
That's good stuff. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Wendy Yi.
And I'm Chris Yi.
Have fun isling in the sky.
Whiskey.